Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I will explain about chapter 5, word and its relatives derivation, subject morphology. Before I explain about the material, let me introduce myself. My name is Rika Anjeni. I'm from class 3C. Subject morphology. Point 1 is called the inflectional suffix. Derivatives or accession that not influence same performances, so performance and performance are two verbs or the exam performance. Next, of word form, perform and performance. Derivational morphology is concerned with one kind of relationship between exams. And the next, relationship between exam, relationship involving affixation and the grammatical and semantic tasks that such affixation can perform. Best virtually complete word form to which an affix is attached so a new exam. Some base or roots whether bound, each with the base for whips, or free, edge cat, base for cats. Other contain a root and one or more affix, helpful as the base for helpfulness. And the next material, 5.2, word classes and convention categories. Perform and performance do not have the same word class because performance has two word forms and performance has four word forms. Performance is a verb, performance is a noun. On the basis on syntactic and inflectional behavior, not of meaning. Perform and resemble. Resemble has resembling and resemble. To classify words such as perform and resemble as doing words would be to mislead us into neglecting the syntactic and inflectional parallels that justify them as verbs. And the next 5.2 word class and compression. Does that mean then that a lexeme cannot have both, not form, singular and plural and firm forms? For example, the lexemes hope and fear both have verb she hope or fear for the future, and noun forms her hope or fear for the future. Ambivalence, known like in its grammatical behavior, each door, sister, dex, joy, or plural, verb like edge, hear, speak, write, believe. And you can see the PPT, compare and pair as verb with other verbs can be followed by that clause. So, first, A, she stated that it would rain. B, she knew that it would rain. C, she did that it would rain. D, she admitted that it would rain. And E, she acknowledged that it would rain. The verbal construction in first is basic, and the second, her statement that rain. D, her acknowledgement that it would rain. The nominal construction in two, big derived from it. And the next material, 5.3, adverbs derived from adjective. Dioceously and dioceous, distinct lexeme or different word class, but not distinct lexical items. The derivational process changes the word class of the base to which they apply unlike inflection. Morphemic adverbs, often, seldom, never, soon, and some other adverbs are morphologically complex without containing like nowhere, everywhere, today, yesterday, confession, fast, hard, derived from adjective. And the next material, 5.4, nouns derived from nouns. Not all derivational process change word class. Example, 5 and 9, page 49. 5 small, left as I. Age droplet, booklet, cigarette, to be, and 6 female, age waitress, princess, and beyond. Text and glass region. Issue, murder, word, pursuit, and the last debut of or exact word. Age concerns item unpredictable meanings. These gappiness have to convey that these affixes they do not change the word class. This example, glass region loses the possibility that the best way. Glowy skin contain an idiosyncratic bound allomorphic glow skin of the free morpheme Glasgow, which is also the only word form belong to And the next material 5.5, nouns derived from members of the word classes. Nouns derived from adjectives and verb verbs are extremely numerous. And suffixes used to derive noun from adjectives. For example, you can see my favorite, ITH, pretty, equality, ferocity, sensitivity. 11, ness, H, goodness, tallness, fierceness, sensitiveness, and the last ism, H, radicalism, comparatism. Property of forms from base other than the free form of the corresponding adjective. H, ferocity from ferox, not furious, conservatism from conservative, not conservative. All nouns in IT are lexical items. And the next material, 5.6, adjective derived from adjective. Prefixes predominate an adjective. Most dictionaries may not even list them. In with omorph, such as you, I am, as in intangible, illegal, irresponsible, impossible. And the next material, 5.7, adjectives derived from members of other word class. More than, slow than, interesting, drunk, and damaged are adjective. Example 23, you can see my DVD, a not very interesting book. B, the party girls sounded very drunk. C, the car seemed more damaged, very drunk. Suffixes that the wrong adjective, wrong verb. Able to be, accent, breakable, readable, readable, watchable. And turning to X, rebellion, expansion, conversion. Example, if tending to X, repulsive, explosive, speculative. Suffix that form adjective from nouns. Meaningful, and less, H, joyless, hopeless, helpless, meaningless, and the 29 of regional, normal, personal, national, and the last is boyish, loutish, waspish, and selfish. And the next material 5.8, verb derived from verb. Prefixes re and negative ones such as undi, this, and 31, pain become revenge, enter become re-enter, tangle, compose become decompose, sensitize becomes desensitize, and become disbelief. Look at the and transitive. Intransitive line become past life, past lane, rise, past rose, fall, past fell, and sit, past set. Transitive lie, past late, rise, past rised, fell, past fall, and the last set, past set. And the next material 5.8, verb derived from verbs. Transitive verbs are ones with an object, non-phrase, usually indicating the thing or person that is the goal of the affection of the verb. 36A, Jill laid the book on the table. B, the book lay on the table. Intransitive verbs such as like, such as an object. The transitive verb in 35 are all causative because 2x, where x stand for the meaning of the corresponding intransitive. Involving conversion as in 37. And the next, 5.9, verb derived from members of other word class. Some affixes for deriving verb from nouns. Verb derived by replacing the final voiceless consonant of a noun with a voiced one, perhaps with some vowel change to 41. Nouns, but, verb bathe, nouns bread, verb bread, noun house, nouns bread. Next, the suffix eyes and ify can derive verb from adjectival base to as in nationalize, standardize, intensify, and purify. And the next example, when the roots they are attached or bound, it's cauterize, sanitize, petrify, satisfy, magnify, It is often impossible to decide whether these roots are fundamentally nominal or adjectival. The suffix "and" is the same. Suffix play a larger role than prefixes and prefixes in English derivational morphology. The next example, one prefix to be mentioned with an or more an, cause to become X or cause to process or enter X from a view adjective and nouns, and fable and slave and power and range and throne and time, adjective bold and live as best the prefix and embolden and live. And the last example, H tighten, loosen, stiffen, weaken, redden, deepen, toden. These verbs have either an intransitive meaning, become X, or an transitive one, cause to become X, itron, or that the adjective that can be best for deriving, and verb all monosyllabic and all and implosivus. The sounds usually spelled P, B, T, D, C, K, and G. Okay, and the last material, simplification contrasts with inflection in English because of the versatility of derivation in English. One might have expected that many of the processes involved would have been sufficiently predictable in both their application and their meaning so that the exams thus derived would not count as lexical items. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.